Good day to everyone. Welcome to Betting Weekly Live. You're with Steve Wyss, and I'm joined for his live show debut, our senior golf handicapper, Simon Holden. How are you doing, Simon? Great to have you.
I'm doing great, mate. It's great to be here. This could be one of the great debut and farewell show appearances that's ever happened on this channel.
We still remember that 45-1 winner, Sheffield United Arsenal, on the live reaction show last year. So we're after some big winners again. We've got
We're going to do our best, mate.
What a weird, sort of interesting mix on the slate we've got today. We're going to be talking, obviously, golf because you're on the show. We've got PGA Tour. We're going to start with Solheim Cup at the end of the show. And then we've got a random English League Two game, which everyone seems to be betting on today. And then a massive NFL match. Massive NFL match, Bills at Dolphins later. So what a really wide variety of sports. Welcoming everyone. If you've got a comment or if you've got a question, do put them in the live chat there to Simon and myself. Good morning to Henry VIII. We've got to start with golf because you're on the show, Simon. We've got a PGA Tour event, the Procore Championship. It's got underway. You've got two bets for us on the 3-ball section on the Bet Rivers website. You've got to go to the Procore Championship, then the Future section, and you're looking at the best score for these 3-balls. So take us through the first one here. I think it's 3:18 p.m. Eastern is this particular 3-ball tees off.
Yeah,
who you got?
The thing about the PGA Tour is as one season finishes, the next year begins. So we are in the first event. And I really like Brendan Todd here. Now, usually for 3-ball bets, I don't like to go short because they're snapshots. You know, it's one round, anything can happen. But I do think these have got very big chances. So Brendan Todd is to beat JB Holmes, who's really struggling, and Lee Hodges, or I'm not sure Silverado will suit. He's -120. It's not a great price, but I'd have him around -200 here. So Brendan Todd will kick us off in the first one. Then we'll go to the second one. I got that down as 4:22 Eastern time. Now, to remind everybody, when you do go to the Bet Rivers, you've got to click the futures, and then, as you just said, it drops down, and then you see the 3 balls. Initially, you'll see 2-ball bets, so make sure you do get on these as 3 balls. And it's the amateur, who's not going to be amateur for much longer, Luke Clanton, +110 to beat Kiefer and Dumont de Chassard. And I think this, well, he's an incredibly exciting player, and I wouldn't rule him out being top 5 in this when we come to Sunday night. But I do think he'll get off to a flying start. He's +110. Luke Clanton, the amateur, to beat the 2 pros.
Yeah, Brendan Todd at -110 and Luke Canton at +110. All they've got to do is beat the 2 guys they're playing with. I mean, JB Holmes is +600. For example, in the matchup there. I mean, he used to be. I mean, he must have gone well downwards if he's that big a price just to beat 2 men. Silverado in over there on the West Coast. It's always the debut event on the PGA Tour. I mean, what sort of course are we looking at here, Simon? Is it quite an easy course? Are we going to get a lot of birdies sort of here, or is it weather dependent?
Yeah. No, it's going to be about 22 under, so not one of the very easy ones. Max Homer's done well here. I think Maverick McNeely will do well here. Those players that can really go low consistently, you're probably going to have to shoot maybe 4 level 65s to win this. So it's an easy intro. And of course, what you've got to remember is the President's Cup coming up. Those players involved are really your Wyndham Clarks, the old Captain Morgan, Max Homer. They're all trying to get themselves right. Now, Wyndham Clark's caused a lot of controversy going on an interview and saying that he admits he turned up at the Ryder Cup undercooked. He's criticised the back room. He's criticised himself, fair play to him, and a lot of the other American players. And he's demanded that they all turn up at this year's President's Club having played tournaments. So he's got a big arrow on him this week. I'd say Max Homer will be involved in the President's Cup. I think he'll have a big week. But I do think Brendan Todd, steady Eddie, very good putter, very good short game. JB Holmes has been seriously ill. He had brain cancer. He's not the JB Holmes of old. And that kind of makes that feel like a match with Lee Hodges, who I don't think will be particularly suited by here. So I do think Brendan Todd looks pretty rock solid for a 3-ball bet. And of course, Luke Clanton, he's golf's next superstar, isn't he? I mean, the people offering him all sorts, the club manufacturers and stuff. Very, very good all-round game, and he's playing two guys who are not really people that should give him too much trouble. So it is 1-round bet, Steve. It's always, you can get to Sunday night and the first round leader can be nowhere to be seen. So 1 round doesn't make a tournament, but I do think these are the two plays today, and stick them in a double.
As a reminder, you can bet live in play on the Procore Championship with Bet Rivers. I mean, you can still get each way terms 1 to 6 on the futures market. Wyndham Clark's the favourite at plus 800. The Gala plus 800, the favourites. They have been, players have teed off here. They're only about 3 or 4 holes in. -3 leaves at the minute. Someone called Bridgman.
Yeah, they're already making birdie.
Yeah, so the birdies are on the board, and you can also bet live on the individual matchups as well, depending on, not all of them, I don't think, but most of them are the big ones anyway. Yeah. But Canton at plus 110 and Brennan Todd -110 to win their 3 balls. Those are your 2 bets on the Procore Championship. We're going to be talking about Solheim Cup later at the end of the show. Yeah. But now we move randomly to an English League 2 game. This is quite random. I mean, the last 2 days, there haven't been much soccer to bet on the back of the international break. So I think there's going to be a lot of money eventually placed on this game. English League 2, Harrogate Town against Doncaster Rovers. Doncaster now a -148 favourite. And now I actually personally got on Doncaster last night to win this game. I like them to beat Harrogate Town. Harrogate Town are actually my local side. They're only about 10 miles away from me, Simon. I've never, I was just saying to you off air, I've never actually been. And I always promised myself that I would go to one of their games if they got promoted to league football. And I think I'm going to have to go before the end of this season because I think they might get relegated, Harrogate Town. I'll tell you one thing I do each week, right? I sound really old here. I buy an actual physical newspaper once a week, a local newspaper, right? I've always done it. And Harrogate Town is one of the big sections in it. Harrogate Advertiser or Nidderdale Herald, if you're interested. And so I follow what's going on. I follow what's going on in the local rugby. They've always had a good reporter for Harrogate Town. This is not good times. This might be one of the worst versions of Harrogate Town. The manager is actually the son of the owner, so he's always pretty safe.
He's going to be all right, isn't he?
I like Doncaster Rovers here, -148 still. And I think that price will actually shorten as the game goes on. I know you've got a couple of thoughts on this game, though, which might be contrarian.
Well, my first thought is if somebody tells me that I should get a newspaper because there's a huge section in it about Harrogate Town, I'm never going to speak to that person again. But secondly, I spoke to my lower league man, I told you, and there's a view that I've kind of investigated, and I'm going to make a pretty major claim soon, Steve, about what happens if this cashes, is that Doncaster are not as good as people think, and your close neighbours, Harrogate Town, the Sulphurites, are not as bad. They've lost a lot of games 1-0 where they've missed a lot of easy chances. Donny didn't look too rock solid in that defeat to Newport, just to worry a few of the odds-on players. And, this is going to be a big game. Let's be realistic. As I said to you, the attendance is so bad there, Steve, that the players come out and introduce the crowd at the start. That's like how bad it is. I spoke to both Harrogate Town fans that are going tonight, and they assure me they're both going to make a lot of noise, one in the main stand and one behind one of the goals. And, I think that this has gone a little... It was plus 340. It's been lengthened again with the slide that was just on. We are now getting, I think, a very tasty price for Harrogate, who, let's be honest, a meteoric, plus 355. I'm sorry, this is getting in the bet zone.
So you like Harrogate on the money line?
Right. I do, yeah. I
really?
Like the Sulphurites big style. I think this has become the steamroller effect on the Doncaster, because there's so few games today. People have looked at this and thought, easy money. Donny flying at the top of the league. There go Harrogate. And in the head-to-head, Steve, in the last couple of years, Harrogate have had the better of this match. they've regularly taken. Is it 3-1 in the last 4
They
games?
have, yeah. I mean, for head-to-head backers, then this is. I have to say, it is obviously a
Gives us
Yorkshire
hope.
derby, but
Yeah, throw that in.
But the thing is, I've got some.
You're wavering. You're wavering, Steve.
No, I'm not. I'm not wavering because
No.
I've got a ridiculous stat for you here, right? Harrogate Town have played 7 competitive games this season. They have conceded 122 shots in those 7 games. Now, that is an absurd amount of shots. Now, I don't know actually how they haven't conceded more goals than they have done. Recent defeats have been 1-0. They've lost to 0-3 times. Yeah. They should have lost by more. I mean, I'm worried about them at both ends of the field, to be honest. I think Doncaster win to 0 at plus 205 could be worth a go here. If Doncaster do win, I think it will be with a clean sheet. Harrogate Town are just offering nothing, but it is this one-off game on a Thursday night under the lights, under the cameras. Yeah. Big crowd. No, I don't know, actually. Hopefully a big crowd. Maybe they can raise their level. I'll give you that. And maybe there might be a case of every man and his dog might end up on Doncaster. But I just think, Doncaster are the favourites for promotion from this league, by the way, Simon. They are a very strong team. So, this is one of those we might have to agree to disagree. But if Harrogate Town win this game, what's your claim? If Harrogate Town win this game, you're actually going to go. Oh,
yes, I make a major claim today. If my brave Harrogate Town, the Sulphurites, win, I am going to head up north. Actually, I'm up north, so it's not quite as dramatic. I'm going to head up north and take you, Steve Wyss, on me. Well, I'll borrow the money of somebody else, obviously, but on me to take you to your first Harrogate game. Now, all this Nigel Seeley talking about the Vegas trips, bigging himself up. This is nothing. This is the biggie. If my boys do it tonight, I'm taking you, Steve Wyss, to Harrogate. I'll even pay your bus fare.
I don't even know if I want Harrogate. Well, I don't want Harrogate to.
I'll probably have left by half, but you're more than welcome to stay till the end.
I can tell you now, 93% of the money and 89% of the tickets are on Doncaster Rovers with Bet Rivers. 95% of the over and under money is on the 83% of the tickets are on the over. So, I would actually go probably under rather than over here, but that's mostly because Harrogate, I just don't think they'll score a goal.
It's still very early season to be making out Donny as the sort of Real Madrid of the second division, aren't we?
It is early days. Some good comments here from Nigel. Harrogate haven't scored a home goal yet this season. Worst metrics in the entire football league. That's a damning statement. That I just mentioned some of the stats there. Harrogate have got in horse racing terms, Simon. They have got to massively improve for the run here. Like they've got to show something they haven't shown before. It doesn't mean they can't, but interesting betting heat. Let us know anyone who's betting on this game in the comments. Just looking back on some other comments actually as well. Welcoming Ming Chung. Rick Haley, we're going to talk about the Bills game in a minute. Simon, great to see you as well. As always, why don't I go and watch them live? Well, I am going to. I promised that I would, actually, before the season's done. I'll be looking into it. But I'm in Leeds.
It might be for free.
It's I don't know what the price is, probably 10 or 15 quid a ticket. But I say I like Doncaster. Simon likes Harrogate. So let's see.
The prices.
The price is currently, let's move on. We've got a massive NFL game. We've got a massive right from League 2 to NFL. This is interesting now. Here we go. Buffalo Bills are going to Miami Dolphins. And it's a close betting heat. Plus 110 on the Buffalo Bills, minus 136 on the Miami Dolphins. Point spread 40. Plus 2.5 and minus 2.5. And the over-under is over 48.5 for this game. Now, the angle I like on this game, Simon, is actually on a player, Tyreek Hill, the wide receiver for the Miami Dolphins. I think he's one of the best players in the entire NFL. He's a great playmaker. He's been in the news recently for an incident before the game last week. But he's the sort of player, if he actually thrives in the limelight. He racked up 130 receiving yards against the Jaguars. And I just struggle to see how the Bills are going to contain him here. I'm actually looked at his receiving yards line with the Bet Rivers. There's loads of different lines you can get on, by the way. But over 89.5 receiving yards for Tyreek Hill, minus 137. And I'm thinking about laddering this. I quite like him to get 100 yards or more at plus 106 and over 119.5 yards at plus 200. It's the sort of player, if he goes big, he goes big. I mean, last week there was a ridiculous moment in the game against the Jaguars were at the 1 yard line. They fumbled, gave the ball up turned it over, and the very next play, Tyreek Hill had an 80-yard touchdown. So it like turned the game in one moment. He's the sort of player who can completely, in one play, change the dynamics of a whole game. So that's the angle I'm going on. In terms of match result, there are some interesting trends here. The Bills have won 11 of the last 12 games against the Dolphins. So they might be a popular dog here. It's close with the money. 52% of the money is on the Dolphins. 51% of the tickets on the Bills. So it's split 50-50. The bettors can't really decide here which side they want to be on. It seems a pick 'em. But I could see the Bills being a popular dog. 5 of the last 6 Bills games have gone over the points total line. Now, we were talking, I think you quite like to get involved in the over points line here, 48.5. What's your angle here for Bills at Dolphins?
Well, firstly, the great Neil Channing revealed something very interesting, that the Miami Dolphins are massively popular in Britain due to the fact that in 1982, Channel 4 TV, before you were born, Steve, started showing American football. And here we have a picture. I'll wait till we come back on screen of me, a huge Miami Dolphins fan, but a very young Earl of Cardigan there in the old Miami Dolphins gear. So huge. Dan Marino, still my favorite NFL player, the greatest quarterback in my mind, and so sad he never won the Super Bowl. But there we are at 61. I don't think he's going to come back for this night, but I think the Bills are the bet. I think they've got the Dolphins number. Now, I said to you off air, these two teams make Everton's defense look rock solid. They had to come from behind last week. The overs. The only thing that stops me going heavy on the overs here is the old Vegas theory of the short week, the Thursday night game, where of course the theory is that the players still tired from Sunday, that they're not going to have the same level of energy. They both had hard games, high scoring games. That stops me from going heavy, but I do think there's going to be a lot of points in there. And I quite like the old, there used to be a Sheffield Wednesday player called Chris Waddle. Well, Miami Dolphins have Waddle, don't they, as the old wide receiver?
Jalen Waddle,
yeah. I think he is the man tonight. I think the old anytime scorer is the play. But I'm on the overs, but with a heavy heart, I do think the Bills are the bet here.
There's an interesting trend that I've got here. The Bills are 30-44 against the spread versus a team with a winning record in the last, obviously 74 there. So they don't have a great record against the spread versus the team with a winning record. We're going to come to any time. They do recently, but there's some big injuries for the Bills. Matt Milano's out probably until December, a big defensive player. Taron Johnson, the cornerback's ruled out for this game as well. I think that massively helps Tyreek Hill and Waddle in this game. Yeah. Miami's running back, Devon Achane, I think it's Achane, how you pronounce him. I always get that one wrong. He's questionable, game time decision, but I think he'll probably suit up. Where I was going with touchdown scorers now, where we've got a graphic for that. Tyreek Hill -117 for an anytime touchdown scorer. Waddle, I think that's actually +148, so it's a graphic mistake there. But you like both. I do like Hill to score at any time as well, by the way, here at -117. The favorite for the Bills is Josh Allen, the quarterback. He actually has an injury to his non-throwing wrist. Let's see how he copes with that. But he's a dual threat, Allen. He can rush for a touchdown himself. He actually spread the ball to 9 different wide receiver targets in game week 1, Josh Allen. So if you're looking for a Bills anytime touchdown scorer, it could be really anyone, really. Take your pick from a lot of different players. A bit of a difficult market there. I think I would actually go Dolphins, -2.5 if I had to on the spread. But I think looking at the points line, looking into the player props is the most profitable way for this game. The biggest bet on the game with Bet Rivers so far, I'm sure there'll be bigger bets coming up towards kickoff. Over 23.5 first half points, $7,000 on that, and -118. So that is, if you like the first half, maybe could kick off into something big here. I don't know.
If you watch Sunday, the last games, the first game of the season, you give them a little bit of leeway, but they were both defensively awful. And You know, like you say, you've got those wide receivers, and Bills have a great quarterback. Yes, that little niggling doubt with it being the Thursday night game. I do think this is going to be high scoring.
Tua Viola, the quarterback for the Dolphins, has not thrown an interception in 4 of his last 5 home games. So decent at home. I think it's going to be an intriguing game. Let's see if I've got the energy to stay up for it over here. I don't know. Might need a Red Bull or two for this one, Simon. Yeah. But good luck with your plays for it. Like I say, my bet would be the over 89.5 receiving yards for Tyreek Hill. And I'd look to ladder him. Simon likes the over 48.5 points.
And Waddle anytime.
And Waddle anytime as well at I think plus 148. So let's switch now. We're going to finish the show with Doncaster 3-0 is Nigel's prediction for the game tonight, by the way.
Right.
Just looking at some of the comments.
Well, the Harrogate winning can go as well.
Kushal welcome in to the stream, Frank as well. Harrogate can beat Man United. Yeah, probably can at the way Man United playing at the minute.
That still might not be a tip for them to win tonight, though. Yeah. That's not the kudos it once was, my friend.
By the way, that photo you put up on screen, Simon, my only big shock of a young Simon Holden, it wasn't in black and white.
Circa 1986, that.
The last time that Simon cashed on Model Anytime, that cardigan was in fashion.
Who's that? Who said that?
That is Nigel Seeley.
Oh, is it? All right. Well,
yeah.
Fashion from him, I will. Yeah. Sometimes it's best to say nothing.
We're going to finish the show with some more golf, and the biggest event in women's golf happens once every 2 years, or it's actually has happened 2 straight years now due to the scheduling. The Solheim Cup. Now, this is an event I watched this. Even I watched this, Simon, because I think it's going to be. There's a lot of hype about this one in the US. The Europe are on for a 4-peat of Solheim Cup wins, and I'm getting vibes of what that European side in Ryder Cup used to be like. As we can see there, though, USA are minus 200 to win the cup. Europe plus 220, and the tie, which actually did happen a year ago, is a 12-1 shot. Now, on paper, the US, of course, have the better ranked players and all that sort of thing. They've got home advantage. But this European team have found a way to win the Solheim Cup in the last few, Simon. Do you like the dog here, or are USA finally going to get their hands back on this trophy?
Well, what's interesting about this is in the last 3 or 4 renewals of this, it's been a far nastier game than the Ryder Cup has been. And the shenanigans have started already. I was talking to a golf odds compiler friend of mine, and he sort of told me a theory he's had that the European stars, the really good ones, the type that are going to make this team, they're more world players. So 18, 19, they're getting scholarships to American universities. For them, they're world golfers. Nothing is an away game anymore. And still, like getting back to what we saw in Rome, where Wyndham Clark, we didn't know the course, blah, blah, blah. So I think for the Europeans, an away game is not as big a handicap as the Americans for an away game coming over to Europe. So for that reason, I think at the prices, this was the rule in the Solheim is that, of course, if it's a draw, the team that holds the cup is announced as the winner. Well, that's fine, but that's a condition of it. In all intents and purposes, this was a draw. These are locked. And with it being a year on, there's only 2 or 3 changes on each team. So basically, it's kind of as you were. And I think that the disparity of the prices means you've got to play Europe. I'll tell you what I've done here. I've had a decent bet on Europe to win, and I've backed the draw to cover my stake on it because I think this is going to go down to the wire. And again, is the team, the better team, the better unit, able to overcome the players higher in the rankings? Well, we've seen in these team events, time after time, Steve, that is the case. And we sit here every time previewing, and people say, I'm going with the Dane. They've got 5 players in the top 12 in the world. The Europeans or the other team have got 1 in the top. And then it still turns out that the team wins. And I can see a fast start tomorrow. I think Europe to win day one is a cracking bet. I think they'll be hyped up. There's already Needle there. There's already press conferences going on. And I think, again, if you can get a fast start in these competitions, it puts so much pressure on an American team that are already under scrutiny for not having won the previous three. So again, if Europe get off to a flyer, I think this is going to be very difficult to come back from. And if you think that the teams are lost, you've got to back the bigger price, haven't you?
Yeah, just looking at a comment here. Will White, our professional gambler, says Europe's plus 220 is a no-brainer. I mean, I have to agree. I watched all the press conferences, and you can just tell there's a great vibe with Europe. They are genuinely enjoying themselves. Yeah. They've also got a captain who, she's absolutely frosty as anything when she wants to be. Suzanne Pedersen. He's a serial winner. Like, if she has to get dirty, like, I mean, we saw, was it 2017? There was that controversial moment. She wants to win desperately. So I think they're a bit tougher than US in that way. The US always put this show on, we're having fun, we're happy, we're a team. But they just always feel like a collection of individuals. Nelly Corda, Lily Avu are very, very good players. But, you know, they're quite finicky. I mean, I think Corda, to be fair, should go well. We've got some points odds as well here. Top US point score and top European point score.
I've got 2 bets in these,
Yeah, who do you like then here? Let's start with the US because I mean Nelly Corda is obviously the favourite. It was interesting in the last Solheim Cup. Not one player from the US played more than 4 matches. I don't know whether that's going to be because they rely on a lot of stats and data and stuff. I don't know whether that's going to be a contrived thing that everyone rests out a session. The US seem to do this in the Ryder Cup as well. I'm not sure it's a great idea necessarily. I'd stick with the hot hand myself. But who do you think? Who do you like in the US point score?
Well, I've got a bit of a theory here in the US team, and that's we're going to Southport with Ali Ewing, JR's niece, because she is regarded as something of a sort of right-hand man or right-hand woman, to the captain. She qualified in 3rd place, playing the best golf of her career, but she's very, very much the leader, the vice captain, if you like, on the field. And I think she's going to play in a lot of the games. Very good competitor, very good player, very good at every facet of the game. Is she a better player than Nelly Corda? Of course she isn't. But I think at the prices at plus 900, Ali Ewing's got to be a play here. For all these, you're looking at somebody who's respected by the captain, and you want somebody who, when the captain goes to bed at night, they think there's 2 or 3 players that I'm going to be relying on this week. And I think Ali Ewing is one of the 3. I thought she was a really huge price for a good player at the top of a game who's going to play every match.
I'll tell you a lady who actually interested me, Simon, was Lauren Coughlin. I don't like her price, to be honest. She's a rookie, but she does come in excellent form. She's a local as well. She's a local, by the way, as well, and lives an hour away. But the price, I don't think's there. Ali Ewing plus 900 would be your pick. Top European point scorer then. This is a more interesting market for me.
Fascinating market.
There's a big price I really like in this, by the way. I'll come to that in a minute. But
Lynn Grant. Lynn Grant has been heavily bet.
Massively bet.
And if you had to say to me who's the better golfer out of my pick, Charlie Hull and Lynn Grant, I'd say Lynn Grant. However, I think Charlie Hull should be clear favourite. She's our David Beckham. She's our superstar golfer. She raises a game. She's going to love this course. She hits it absolutely miles. She plays on the level. If there is bad feeling early, she's the star that the European team are going to turn to, I think. And again, you've got to look for people who are going to feature heavily in this. And can you imagine sending out the 4 balls or whatever and Charlie Hull being stood outside of the fairway, not playing? That's not going to happen. I think she's a confident, she's a big-time player. Like I say, maybe Lynn Grant's a bit of a classier player, but for this sort of in-your-face event, I think Charlie Hull is a massive price. I think that's a really strong bet.
I'll tell you, there's a lady I do like at a big price, and that is Emily Pedersen.
Yeah, good player.
And I'll tell you why I quite like her, because she played all 5 games in the last Solheim Cup. She's a captain's pick, and you got to with any captain's pick, you've got to ask yourself a question: why have they picked that person? She's a workhorse. She's one of the fittest women in this team. She can do the distance, all 5 matches if needed. She's a massively long hitter as well. And from what I've heard, this golf course may well suit some of the long hitters. I think you could do worse. I'm not saying. I mean, I think you'd do well. 20-1. It's a shame you can't do each way on this, because I think she could be in the top 3 or 4 point scorers for your. You're right.
Win only market makes that tricky.
Yeah.
Because she's not going to get.
Does. Yeah.
Yeah. Although you see, a captain's pick, I've always been of the theory that a captain's pick will play by definition because it's somebody that the captain wants there. So is she going to get 4 starts? Is she going to whatever? It's a good player. Yeah, good player.
Oh, she got the hole-in-one as well in the last Solheim Cup. I think she's just someone who can make things happen on the golf course. But that's who I would have a look at. You like, Charlie Hull is obviously a massive name for Europe. So, that will conclude today's episode. Thank you very much, Simon. DM Punk has just asked me, how's my injured leg? Well, it's not great still, to be honest, DM Punk. The ankle has been, it's been suffering for me. Probably about 2 or 3 weeks away from my full fitness. Shakespeare, great to see you. San Francisco Giants over the Milwaukee Brewers. That's his pick today in the MLB at +110. We appreciate everyone's support on the shows as ever. And anyone new out there, it'd be great if you could hit the like button or the subscribe button as well. And tomorrow's show is going to be Dan Roebuck with professional gambler Neil Channing. So that's going to be an interesting duo tomorrow on Betting Weekly Live. Watch out for the Premier League show, which is going to be hitting the shelves this evening. And then the European preview show, that's going to be on tomorrow. We've got a massive weekend ahead of action. And I'm sure you're very much looking forward to watching a bit of Everton, Simon. So good luck with that.
You promised, Rich.
I did. Anyway, thanks very much, Simon. Great to see you.
Pleasure.
Take care, everyone. Stay safe. And remember to bet responsibly. See you next time.